Hello folks, Phil Gallagher, aka ThrabenU here for another Legacy video. Today's video is sponsored by Moxfield.com and we'll take a look at them after round 1. Today is the first of many deck lists submitted by Matt H, who today wanted to see some Angel Stompy. So, why would we want to play this archetype? Well, basically, the reason is protection from dragons. Murktide Regent is a big old dragon. Baneslayer Angel as something that can attack through it and wall it. Sounds pretty neat. And that is kind of the primary reason why we're trying this archetype, although we've got some other payoff here as well. So, in case you're not familiar with the Stompy side of the deck list refers to lock pieces like Chalice of the Void and Trinisphere that we're going to accelerate out through things like Ancient Tomb and Mox Diamond. Now, we are essentially a tribal deck, so we are going to be playing with Cavern of Souls, so we get huge synergies from that, making all of our various angels uncounterable. And kind of the most interesting one here is Serra Paragon. Once during each one of your turns, you may play a land from your graveyard or cast a permanent spell with mana value 3 or less from your graveyard. If you do, it gains when this permanent is put into a graveyard from the battlefield, exile it, and you gain 2 life. So, I want you to imagine, that you've gone through, you've done your Urza Saga thing, and then you say, oh no, victory lap, and then you replay it with Serra Paragon. That's one of the things that this deck is seeking to do. Or, alternatively, oh, I got rid of your Chalice of the Void finally. I found my Smash to Smithereens. Oh no, I'm going to play it again with Serra Paragon. Beyond that, we have some interesting angels. We can give all our other angels lifelink. We have angels that exile players' graveyards, which is definitely relevant right now in the face of things like, Murktide Regent. And we have cantripping angels as well that gain us a little bit of life. While Inspiring Overseer is definitely under the power level curve for Legacy, this is a sick pauper card, it doesn't really seem like it's up to snuff in Legacy. But then if you start considering that, you chump block with it and you play it again via Serra Paragon and you net a whole bunch of life and a couple cards in process, it doesn't actually sound that bad. As far as the sideboard goes, 6 of the slots are dedicated to a Karn the Great Creator tutor package. Most notably here is Nettle Cyst, which can be a decent buff for the Angels and is a threat that you can fetch off of Karn. Otherwise, most of the stuff here you'll probably recognize other than Crackdown. Crackdown says non-white creatures with power 3 or greater don't untap during their controller's untap steps. Again, there's a direction we're angling to beat here. Can you tell what it is? With our Baneslayer Angels, our Angel of Finalities, our Crackdowns, our Serra Paragons to recycle jump blockers. You get the picture? We're gonna try to beat Delver, and we'll see if we actually do accomplish that. One cute card here, I would say, is Archangel of Wrath. This is a 3/4 flying lifelinker, and it has kicker. If we can kick it for either black or red, which is tough but possible, we do have a couple of sources of treasure tokens or otherwise things that produce any color of mana. If we can kick it, we can deal 2 damage to any target, and you can kick it up to 2 times. So I think with that being said, let's go ahead and jump into some matches here. I don't know that this is the most competitive thing in the world, but it should be a decent amount of fun. If you're new here, please consider subscribing if you like what you see today. And if you're a regular, please throw me a like before the video begins. That's the easiest way to support my content for free, and likes are one of the biggest predictors of a video's success. Alright, let's battle. This is a classic example of a hand with lands and spells that I don't really think does anything. I play a turn 3 Inspiring Overseer, and then I start going all in on Urza's Saga. I don't think this is where I want to be. I would keep this quality of a hand on 6, but I don't think I'm willing to keep something like that on a 7. Keeping this? Definitely awkward. I think I'm going to keep it and pitch an Angel of Finality. This hand's not overly exciting, but I don't know how well my deck performs on 5 cards. Alright, rip my currency converter, which I was thinking about just throwing back. Okay, that's fine. The Emery is not so much fine. That's a lot of value for my opponent. Yeah, my opponent's found a bobble now. Alright, my hand is going to be very slow. The currency converter was supposed to be both my turn 1 and turn 2 play, and I essentially just lost both of those. Notably, my opponent is playing Spire of Industry. It means that they have interesting, like, flash options. Alright, another Lotus Petal from my opponent. And it becomes my turn. I mean, Caracas gives me something to do with my mana. I guess that's what I'm doing for right now. Just take away some amount of value from my opponent. I think that's better than just playing Urza's Saga, because I actually do just want to play these Flying Angels. Okay, nice. Ooh. I think I need to play these uncounterably, though. I've got Force of Will vibes. Cavern on Angel. Cannot be countered. And I'll gain some life, draw a card. Serra Paragon is sweet. And then next turn I can play one of my 4-mana Angels uncounterably while also Caracas bouncing Emery if my opponent plays it. They did not. I'm always attacking for 2 here. I'm relatively certain about that part. Now do I want to play Serra Paragon, Angel of Finality, and or do I want Urza Saga involved in this as well? I think I'm more interested in the flyers. And I think I'm going to take 2. I think I'm going to take 2 to hold up Caracas. Alright. Alright, I'll play a uncounterable Serra Paragon. I'll have, what, 5 next turn, followed by 8? Okay, yeah, your Emery's fine. I will bounce that at end of turn, as I was planning on doing. Okay. There's 5 damage. Awkwardly puts my opponent to 9. I think this is the point where I go ahead and floop the Urza Saga into play. I think I again do take 2 damage here. The Angel of Finality. I will exile my opponent's yard, holding up a Caracas bounce for like an Emery or a Sai. My opponent can't tap these Ancient Tombs anymore, or they die to my onboard power. Good showing from my deck. Although, like, Urza Saga is definitely fighting these creatures for, like, what I want to be doing with my mana. How do I feel about Crackdown? Crackdown is an out to a Kappa Cannoneer, which otherwise is a very difficult card for me to answer. But I'm not super excited about that card, generally speaking. Because it's going to miss Thopter tokens, Emery, Thought Monitors. It just hits Kappa. And that may be enough. But I don't think I need to sideboard that much. Like, Chalice on 0 is very good. Trinosphere is medium. I've got the graveyard covered. The chump blockers on the ground don't matter too much. I've got Karn to shut off artifacts. I've got Solitude as an early pitch removal spell. Currency Converter doesn't feel particularly great. I'd probably cut that for the Cataclysm. And it's like Trinosphere versus Crackdown. Crackdown is white and pitches to Solitude. Trinosphere doesn't. Trinosphere is much worse on the draw. Still think I'm just going to keep it. I do not have enough mana here, but I think I keep this hand. So I can just play Mox Diamond, discard Windswept Heath, Caracas, Chalice on 0, and Pithing Needle, like Emery or something like that on turn 1. How many mana sources do I have? This is 24. I have 23 lands remaining. I think this is good enough. Especially since, like, if I hit 1 land in 2 or 3 draws, I get Inspiring Overseer to take another draw. Alright, Chalice stops my Pithing Needle. It is relevant. I'm surprised Chalice is still in the deck, though, honestly. Totally happy with Plains as a draw here. Now I don't have to show Caracas on turn 1. Alright, so there is Mox Diamond. Discard Heath. Play Plains. Cast Chalice on 0. Which got Force of Willed, pitching a Thought Monitor. I wonder if I was supposed to play out Karakas this turn. I was trying to hide Karakas, but if my opponent plays blue land into Emery, I would rather have Karakas available right now. I think I actually messed up. Same is true for Psy. Yep, I messed up. I don't get to play Inspiring Overseer on my turn. Although I did, like, force my opponent to use their mana towards that, so maybe it's not an explicit mistake. That's interesting. Very interesting. I think I just bounce it, though. Like, my opponent has 2 cards left, counting the Emery. I would rather use the Solitude on something that I cannot bounce easily. Yeah, that's fine. Redeploy that. Sure. Land drop would be cool. Kind of like a land drop. Yeah, I think this is awkward, but I think I just keep doing this. I think this favors me by quite a bit. Not getting my cards out there in a way that I like, but my opponent isn't high enough on artifact count to get something like a Kappa Cannoneer into play yet. That's more of a problem. Sure. I think I can out-tempo this Urza's Saga in the air, though. There is a City of Traders. That gets me to 5 mana to just hardcast Solitude. I think I'm into that over pitching it with Mox Diamond. Yeah. Let's go 4 mana for Angel of Finality. Send about 20 cards to exile. Got this to get an Emery out of the way if my opponent plays it. Otherwise, I can Solitude away an Urza Saga. Dismember? Dismember's reasonable. I would have dealt like 4 or 6 damage in the air, though, if I would have played Karakas as a land drop instead of Plains. I might legitimately lose the game for that decision. Thoughtcast is good. Like, it's such a little thing, but it mattered so much. I don't know. Solitude, though, giving my opponent life probably mean... yeah. Whatever. Let's just go ahead and pass the turn here. My opponent will make their construct. I'm going to go ahead and just Solitude that now. Give them the least amount of life possible. I'm fine with them knowing that this is coming. Now, I won't be surprised if they get Shadow Spear here, although they've got other options. Like, they can get a Pithing Needle to stop my Karakas from being live. Yeah, that is the Shadow Spear. Oh, fuck. Follow-up Urza Saga is very bad. Graveyard's not that threatening as of right now. Alright. 7/7 Solitude, or sorry, 7/7 Construct Token that's getting bigger is a problem, though. Alright, opponent draws a card. Arn. Arn finds Ensnaring Bridge. Arn finds Ratchet Bomb. Can't play it this turn. Arn pluses to 6 loyalty. I can plus Arn on Chalice, name Urza's Saga, and probably, not 100%, but probably keep Karn alive with a chump block. Oh, no. Okay, that was a good Force of Will. Alright, bounce Emery out of play, pass the turn. Man, that was such a good line, too. Like, nuke the Chalice, stop the Urza Saga from being a problem, have 1 construct to deal with. Opponent would have gotten a Lotus Petal or Bauble with Emery. And then I... Oh, holy shit. Like, I have one drop in my entire deck that I need to cast. And I usually will tutor it up with Urza Saga. This is backbreaking. More or less dead. Full Guide Lantern. Not good. Alright, let's cast this Angel, draw a card off it, and I'm just gonna concede if I don't draw something that's real hot. I don't even know what that would be. Another one of those is not it. Let's go to a game 3. I think I'm happy with how I've sideboarded I still think I want to be able to tutor for Ratchet Bomb rather than just draw it. My Trinispheres are a little better on the play. Okay. This hand plays a Chalice on 0 on turn 1 on the play and has a very reasonable set of cards to follow it up. I am going to keep this. I am unsure which land to play on my turn 1. I guess I'm just going to start by seeing if the Chalice on 0 resolves. Let's start there. Oh shit, it does resolve. Let's just put a Cavern on Angel out there. If I had 2 Ancient Tombs in hand, I would need to play... Oh, that's annoying. That kind of dodges my whole, like, Chalice of the Void based game plan. So I guess I'm just doing that too? Yeah, I guess I'm just doing that too. I just kind of hope that my ability to replay Urza Saga with Serra Paragon eventually outdoes my opponent's ability to put extra artifacts into play. Very glad I didn't play out Ancient Tomb, because that's super relevant here. I'll just play a basic blah blah blah. Play Plains, pass turn. I don't think I need to Cataclysm. Just doesn't feel particularly strong. I'm just going to go ahead and make my Urza Saga Construct token now, because I need to do it before my opponent searches anyway. There shouldn't really be any difference between doing it in main phase and upkeep. Alright. Are you Shadow Spearing? Or are you going to Pithing Needle my Urza Saga? You are Shadow Spearing. Okay. Opponent in the short term is going to have the larger, or I guess higher artifact count. Not overly worried. I can take some damage now, because I'm about to be able to do the same thing that, like, they're doing. Alright. I will go ahead and make one of these. I will get my own Shadow Spear. Got a 4/4. Go ahead and play Ancient Tomb. I'll equip this as a 5/5. And go ahead and bash in with mine. Putting me back up to 21. And then next turn, I get to play Serra Paragon and start Urza Saga-ing again. I guess I'm scared of like a Brazen Borrower bouncing my Chalice and then my opponent vomiting a whole bunch of permanents into play. Although if my opponent vomits a whole bunch of stuff, like, I have Cataclysm as plan B. This is one of the things I didn't want to happen. Okay, Sai is spooky. My opponent can make a whole bunch of tokens by just vomiting all of that stuff into play. Sure, if I'm going to need to Cataclysm. I'd like to play... Okay, yeah, I will take that hit. I would like to have Serra Paragon in play, and then Cataclysm. I guess I attack with my 5/5 lifelinker. Make my opponent trade for it. Do a chump block with my other token, maybe, and then cast Cataclysm. I don't know. Maybe I just cast Cataclysm now. It's pretty bad if it gets countered, and I think I don't know how to get counterspells out of my opponent's hand without taking a very large risk. I think I need the 5 life. So let's start with this attack. My opponent is willing to make the trade. I will play an uncounterable Serra Paragon. I don't want to play Plains this turn and attempt Cataclysm next turn. With my opponent having Sai in play, I just think my opponent wins the fair game of Magic, of just like playing artifacts back and forth. I think I attempt like this. Just awkward. It's just so awkward if my opponent has Force of Will. Alright, there's the equip. My opponent gets their 5 points of damage in. I see what I can do here. Alright. Here we go. Floating 1 mana. Attempt Cataclysm. Okay. That's rough. Play Urza Saga. Equip Shadow Spear on Serra Paragon. Crash in for 4 lifelinky trample damage. But my opponent just gets to go Urza Saga, get some other artifact in play, and I think just outdo me. Yeah, I basically lost this game to a singular Urza Saga. Well, I guess it's the second Urza Saga that I lost the game to. The first one was just incredibly strong. They can Pithing Needle my Urza Saga here, or Pithing Needle my Shadow Spear here. Or if they have an Aether Spellbomb, that's incredibly strong as well. Yep. Alright, so Shadow Spear is stuck where it is. My opponent now has enough large bodies that I can't win this one. Cataclysm was a 1-of, so I can't draw another. I was just in this unfortunate position where I needed my opponent to not have Force of Will or Force of Negation, but because I had Cavernous Souls, I hadn't really given them any good targets since the Chalice of the Void on turn 1, and I don't think it was correct to cast this counterably in order to bait that out. Oh, my opponent had Brazen Borrower as well. Yeah, then I am literally just dead right now. GG's. Today's video is sponsored by Moxfield.com. Moxfield is a deck building website for Magic the Gathering, and it also serves as a database for all sorts of cool decks. So whether you are concerned with your own decks, or maybe decks for a specific format, you want to take a look at what people are messing around with for new cards, or maybe you want to specifically follow some people, like say some content creators, and see what they're up to, there's a ton to explore here, so consider checking it out. Got an awkward hand here. I have a turn 1 Chalice of the Void, and then any land drop allows me to continue churning through my deck. If I play the turn 1 Chalice of the Void, the Pithing Needle isn't actually any good. One maybe a mulligan. I think my mana is more important here, like especially since like if I'm planning on going all in on Chalice, the Pithing Needle already doesn't work. Okay. I'm gonna keep this. I think pitching second Cavern, although I could talk about like the pros and cons of like each land that you could throw back there for like 20 minutes. Noble Hierarch. Sure. Ancient Tomb would probably be my best draw there. Swing and a miss. Alright, opponent is pondering. Wonder if my opponent is playing Infect. 2 years ago I would have said yes, but I haven't seen Infect in quite some time. Oh, alright, there it is. It is, in fact. Hand's a little slow here. I'm gonna do what I can to try and interact. This is the wrong speed of hand for this matchup. Like Daze or Force of Will or Force of Negation if my opponent is playing it, which they probably aren't in game 1. Stops this Chalice. And now I'm in trouble. I could very easily die this turn. Oh, it is a Teferi. Which actually is pretty annoying. Soul Guide Lantern doesn't have a lot of text here. Playing Urza Saga kind of sucks because my opponent can just bounce it. I mean, the same is kind of true for Trinisphere. But I don't want my opponent bouncing my land drop here. I think that is just too catastrophic. Playing this Trinisphere is slightly awkward. It means that like my opponent now knows that I can't Solitude on their turn. I think my Trinisphere just gets bounced. If I have like 4 more turns, I've got some really reasonable shit that I can do. But I just don't think I have that long. Wow, no minus on Teferi. Just crashing in there for honest points of damage. I'm at 2, in fact. What cool Karn shit do I have? I don't think I have Walking Ballista in this build. Non-land permanent. I'm nowhere near making Bridge happen. So I think Karn is my play. I can Karn plus on Trinisphere attack. Then that, like, turns my Trinisphere off, which doesn't sound good. Maybe I'm just supposed to play Serra Paragon and Urza Saga. Yeah, and the Urza Saga is awkward in the face of Teferi. I think I just need to play the Serra Paragon out. I think this is not an Urza Saga game. Like, Urza Saga for Pithing Needle sounds good, but I think I just need to be using my mana right now. And not hoping that Urza Saga gets 3 turns unchecked without being bounced by Teferi. In the worlds where Karn resolves next turn, I can plus on Trinisphere and attack in an attempt to kill Teferi. Or no, it'll be at 7 loyalty in a lot of worlds. Okay, there's a bounce on the Trinisphere. Is almost certainly not good for me. Alright, let's see if I die this turn. Ooh, I'm not dying this turn. That's nice. Feels kind of like hard cast Force of Negation. I can play around that a little bit. I can play land. Oh, that must be my reimbursement happening. From the whatchamacallit bug that I saw in the last league that I played. L Pierce. Is that worth it to me? I think that's worth it to me. I can only do this once a turn. Alright. I will pay for days. A second days. I can't pay for that one. Okay, so now I have a choice. I can attack and attempt to kill Teferi, or I can hold this back as a blocker. My opponent has 2 lands, 2 unknowns in hand. Vigorate Berserk kills me. I guess if I leave Teferi in play, this already isn't a blocker. So let's attempt to kill Teferi. This can still go wrong, right? Like my opponent could animate, block, invigorate. Oh, okay, they're going to Berserk my creature. Okay, I mean, I'm good with that. That means that my opponent has land, 1 unknown card in hand. I probably don't die next turn. And if I don't die next turn, I can produce another blocker. I'll have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 mana. Like, I can play Angel of Finality and Soul Guide Lantern, or like Granisphere and Soul Guide Lantern. What can Karn do at 2 mana for if I draw a land? Rocket Bomb? Liquid Metal Coating? Okay, sure. Alright, there is a Blighted Agent. Oh my gosh. Oh my god, no! What the fuck just happened? How did that happen? Well, that's annoying, because I was about to kill Blighted Agent with this fucking Angel. Uncounterably. Okay. Guess I'm doing Urza Saga stuff instead. Alright, I'll take 2. This is not an unmitigated disaster, this is just a disaster. Sylvan Library, okay. At end step, I'll make an Urza Saga token. Solitude. I guess I just want colorless mana with this. This Pithing Needle. Ink Moth Nexus. Not Blink Moth. Ink Moth Nexus. Cast with 1 kicker. Confirm that these are exactly identical. Or exactly identical. Alright. There's an Archangel of Wrath. Junk the Blighted Agent. Vines. Is that worth 2 cards to just get rid of Blighted Agent right now? Yeah, I think it is. With Karn coming up in the not too distant future as a way for me to more solidly lock up the game, I think I'm okay with that. I think my opponent draws the additional 2 cards pretty much every time here. Alright, there's a fetch land as follow-up. And we're chillin'. I have 2, 4, 6 total mana. Wish I had 7. I don't. I wish I had 7. I think I'm interested in attempting this. Okay, it resolved. I'm gonna go ahead and minus this. Grab a liquid metal coating. Go ahead and put that into play. I don't care if it gets dazed. Does not. I think I'm crashing in for damage here. I don't really care if Berserk type stuff happens. Okay. Invigorate for its appropriate mana cost is totally fine. Do not mind that. Opponent will go to 7. I'll pass the turn. Yeah, you can fetch. I think I need to liquid metal coating the Tundra here, so that a sorcery speed, prismatic ending, or Teferi can't unlock Ink Moth Nexus. And then on my turn, I can start thinking about getting Ensnaring Bridge. Put a more permanent lock on this game. Alright, there is a Blighted Agent. I also could straight up attempt... Ooh, that's very good as well. I just win the game if Mycosynth's Lattice resolves here, but like Daze or Spell Pierce beats that. Whereas Daze or Spell Pierce doesn't interact with this card. Alright, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Cast Solitude. Nuke Blighted Agent. Okay, it was a Vines. So I think I go ahead and play this. And just go ahead and nuke my opponent's entire graveyard with it. Just to better play around Become Immense. Off the top. Good plus on Liquid Metal Coating and attack with it, but I just have lethal in the air next turn anyway. I'd rather blow up a land here. I continue to attack the white mana. Try that. Crash in. I think I lose, though. Like, my opponent finds a 4 damage pump spell, and I die. I get 3 looks at it. Maybe I should have just, like, given that, maybe I should have just gone for the win with Mycosynth Lattice. Okay. I win. I feel like that's a little lucky. I don't know that I played that one perfectly. So, there were 2... Well, if they have 4 Vines. If they have 4 Vines, there were 3 copies of Vines that could have stopped the line that I did. But there were 2 Dazes and probably some number of Spell Pierces on top of it that stopped the Lattice line instead. I don't know. I gotta think about that one for a while. I don't know that I have anything to board for this matchup. Like, no to Priest, no to Crackdown, no to Cataclysm, no to Fairy. No, no. I could play Ratchet Bomb. I need that as a tutor target. I could play this, but it's not exactly great. Currency Converter is incredibly slow. I'm going to board that out to board in a Ratchet Bomb. Soulguide Lantern also isn't fantastic. The Trample could be relevant in some cases. The Lifelink isn't. I could see boarding out Soulguide Lantern for Nettle Cyst, or sorry, Shadow Spear for Nettle Cyst purely to have another threat. But I think I'm going to keep it for the Trample and for those niche scenarios where my opponent has some threat, you know, like a fucking Murktide Regent or something that they could just cast Invigorate and Berserk on and kill me with. I have good mana acceleration here. I think I just keep this hand. I don't have that many removal spells, and I just happen to have a removal spell in the opener, and there's a lot to like about that. Just play Ancient Tomb this turn and pass, probably. I don't think I need to show the Mox Diamond on turn 1. Alright, there is a Noble Hierarch, so we're playing this game slowly. Alright, am I interested in uncounterable Serra Paragon this turn? Means that my Solitude would be counterable in the future. I maybe want to play counterable Serra Paragon, so I can make Solitude uncounterable next turn. A little weird. Karn is incredibly slow here. Could also play the Karn so they could pitch cast a Solitude in case of absolute emergency. I don't know if I'm there. Alright. Lanes. I'm gonna go ahead and cast Karn as my bait spell. I don't actually really care about this card resolving. Okay, cool. Potentially just get Spell Pierced. Yeah, that's fine. I really need this Wishboard to have like a Walking Ballista or the... What's the stupid plant? Not plant. The airship thingy called. That thing. Those are the sorts of things that I need here. Okay, so this is going to be similar to the other situation. So, play Cavern. It goes on Angel. Cast this with 1 kicker. Alright, so this is uncounterable. Attempt to kill Glisten or Elf. It doesn't work. I think I pitch cast Solitude in response. Just like awkward because of Daze. I think I still do it. Alright, that resolved quickly. See if that actually takes out this creature. Leaves me lower on actual resources than I'd like, but I have a bunch of big stupid angels in my deck that I can top deck. Okay, cool. That's not a big stupid angel, but it is really damn good. Alright. Let's crash in with Archangel of Wrath. Ooh, okay, that's fine. And let's see if this sticks now. It's very, very, very good if it does, because it shuts off all cantrips. Nice. So this shuts off cantrips, spell pierces, my opponent's removal, Blighted Agent, and Inkmoth Nexus are now the things that I care about. I think my opponent's supposed to attack for 1 there, unless they have something that they explicitly need the mana for. I will not be casting this until I see a better target. Like, there's not a lot of things that I care about right now. And if I find another... There was another thought there. If I find another Cavern of Souls, I would love to cast Solitude uncounterably. A Soul Guide Lantern. Awkward with Chalice in play. Not a particularly strong card in the matchup in the first place, but, you know. Okay. So that may or may not be a mistake. Hard to tell. Alright. There's Urza Saga. Because they could just be trying to fill up the graveyard a little bit. I think that's a mistake, because they just have multiple fetch lands already. So, it feels wrong to me. Alright. I think I just continue to hold the Solitude. Like, we're chilling. Trinisphere's pretty good. Means I'm taking some damage this turn. That should be fine. Crash in for 2. I do not currently have Solitude up, so if my opponent can kill me with Noble Hierarch from 18 life through Chalice and Trinisphere, they earned it. I don't really think that's possible, but I have been wrong before. I'll make a 4/4. Would you like to use resources on your Noble Hierarch? Because I'm so good with that happening. Yeah. I'm very good with this trade. Absolutely. Ooh, another Chalice. I think I'm supposed to just extract my value here. Do my thing with Urza Saga. Grab a Pithing Needle. We'll name Inkmoth Nexus. This is currently going to be uncounterable. X is currently 2. Done. Now, Blighted Agent is not a thing anymore. Most of my opponent's pump spells and pieces of interaction are off. I'll Solitude the Noble Hierarch next turn, and I think life's real hard for my opponent. Angel of Finality is cool. Go ahead and crash in. Alright, opponent goes to 4. Somewhat likely that my opponent just has a Force of Will effect. I think I just hold up Solitude. But I can't really think of what beats me if I do that. Alright. End of turn. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Cast Solitude. Get the chump blocker out of the way, and then have lethal. Okay, there's a Force of Will. My opponent lives to see another turn. Although, like, it's +1/+1 and lifelink. So my opponent's not dead, but they're damn close. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Uncounterable. The chump block on the construct token is obligatory. My opponent goes to 1. I have 3 different lethal attackers. There's no hasty creature with infect, and we've got that one. I don't know that I played that one perfectly, but I played it well enough. GG's. Okay. Weird hand. I think it's a keep. I probably just play Urza Saga and Currency Converter on turn 1 and try to play out an Urza Saga game for a while, and then Serra Paragon brings back Urza Saga later. Alright. We're doing this thing. My hand's totally fine if my opponent does not have access to Wasteland. Am I supposed to even play out Urza Saga? Like, is it just explicitly better for me to do uncounterable Serra Paragon into uncounterable Lyra Dawnbringer, assuming my opponent doesn't have Wasteland? Or is that the plan B after they deal with my Urza Saga? I think I'm going to make them deal with this Urza Saga. And let's do Currency Converter. Opponent doesn't seem to have counterspells. They F6'd through that very quickly. Alright. 4 looks at Wasteland. Alright, it's a Murktide Regent to the bin. Okay, they found it. Welcome to the deck with the best selection in the format. Thinking about whether or not I'm willing to pay 2 life to get a treasure token. Unsure as of right now, but I'm pretty sure Ancient Tomb is the land that I am supposed to play. My margins are just so fucking tight this game on life until I make it to a higher amount of mana. Especially now. For sure. Getting attacked for 3. So if I make the treasure token, I can have 1, 2, 3, 4 mana on my turn. I can play Serra Paragon on my turn if I take 2 extra damage now. That is probably worth doing. Alright, so let's loot. Discard a land. I think it's this one. I just need Cavernous Souls 100% of the time. Alright. Tap this, get a treasure token, play Cavernous Souls on Angel. 1, 2, 3, 4. There's an uncounterable Serra Paragon. I look forward to my opponent having Brazen Borrower, bouncing this, and then attacking me for 6. Alright. Delver didn't flip. Cool. Well, I kept the second cavern. Okay. This is an obligatory attack. Opponent knows it. I block this one. It's the more valuable card. Let's see if my opponent has a lightning bolt. They do. Alright. Another Delver. Fantastic. So I can play a land this turn, have 2 mana. Make a treasure, have 3 mana. Make a land, have 4 mana. I think I'm on this route. Aim Angel with this, pass the turn. Play Inspiring Overseer next turn to trade with a Delver. Flips to Expressive Iteration. Cool. Alright, so now my opponent has this bullshit, which almost certainly should be banned in Legacy. It's just so much better than Dig Through Time. Alright. The good news is that not dead yet, and they didn't get an additional card off of Expressive Iteration. Bad news is kind of like everything else here. I think I just have to get rid of the one that does me damage. Every point of life is going to matter a lot here. Alright. I can play that Angel. I mean, I guess that's what I'm doing. So I make my treasure token. Play Urza Saga. I will play Uncounterable Angel. That also nukes my opponent's graveyard. And I'll die to Lightning Bolt. Okay. That's still a 3/4 Tarmogoyf after I nuke the graveyard. Yes. I mean, I absolutely have to just block. I don't know why we didn't attack with both of them, if that was the plan, though. Opponent said attack all didn't work. And that's great for me. I need that. So I Solitude away Tarmogoyf, because that can be bigger than Angel of Finality. So I Solitude that away. Itching Lyra, I think. Yeah, let's start there. See if this resolves. Unfortunate. Okay. So my opponent has a 4/5 Tarmogoyf. I take... Thinking about whether or not I just want to make an Inspiring Overseer. Like, it's uncounterable, it's another body, it gains me life and draws me cards. I also could just play Chalice of the Void on 1. Take 4, go to 1. But know that it's incredibly difficult for my opponent to deal the final points of damage to me via Lightning Bolt. Which is a big thing that I'm currently worried about. This is setting up for the future. This is the amount of fear that I have for this deck. Like, their selection is just unprecedented. I can't leave them with, like, Dragon Rage Channeler plus cantrips as, like, something that I have to worry about for the future. Alright, I will take that 4. Puts me to 1. I think I'll go ahead and make this. So this is a 3/3. It's about to become a 4/4. Alright, Soul Guide Lantern. I can take instant out of the equation by removing Force of Will. This shrinks the Tarmogoyf to a 3/4. Alright, there's that card. Finding a Polluted Delta. Tarmogoyf is back to a 4/5. my opponent attacks with it, I can kill that in combat. Oh shit, this is each opponent's graveyard. Not each graveyard. Oh shit. Sorry, I thought this was a Tormod's Crypt. So I just mark 4 points of damage on this, remove sorcery, and then kill the Tarmogoyf that way. That's fine. Notably, if my opponent's attack all from earlier worked, I would be dead right now. Alright. Sacrifice Soul Guide Lantern, nuke the graveyard, kill the Tarmogoyf. Oh shit, did I mess up? I messed up my fucking math. I messed up my math. Would have gotten Shadow Spear. Could have chomped, equipped. Tarmogoyf's still a problem, and if I attack with this, the Delver gets me. I need to draw into exactly Solitude here, I guess. Alright, I'm dead. Alright, GG. Alright, so Crackdown in. Currency Converter feels too slow. Chronosphere doesn't exactly feel fantastic. It gets me these crackdowns. I could board in the Ratchet Bomb. I think having that as a tutor target matters. This doesn't feel keepable to me. Like, it has a lot of mana, but it doesn't do anything. And then this gets countered, and like, I've kept a hand that just does nothing. This is the other side of that, where I just don't have enough mana to function. So this has to be a mulligan as well, unfortunately. Wow, this is awful. Like, I have to keep it. I'm on 5 cards. Karn goes back. Do I have to throw back the Solitude? Ugh. I think I have to throw back the Solitude. I've gone down so many cards. Like, I have to throw back one of Solitude or Mox Diamond. I think I have to use Mox Diamond to pitch City of Traders so that I can play a reasonable game of Magic. I also think this has to happen this turn, so I can cast Crackdown next turn while playing Urza Saga. But all it takes here is one Wasteland, and I've just lost the game instantly. It doesn't even have to be this turn. It can be this turn, next turn, the following turn. Alright, cool. Crackdown almost certainly isn't resolving, but I just have to try. I just have... That's interesting. I always play Urza Saga. And then... Jaws of the Void plays around Daze. Crackdown plays around Meltdown better. It's much harder for me to cast Crackdown later, because there's so many times where I just get Wastelanded in this turn cycle. So I think I'm going to play the Dazable card here. But in the world where I get Wastelanded, I can cast Chalice of the Void next turn, but I can't cast Crackdown next turn. Yep. Yeah, but I think I've just got to go there. Yep, this is exactly why, right? So now I can cast Chalice of the Void this turn, whereas I couldn't have cast Crackdown unless exactly that happened. Alright. Same Angel again. Attempt Chalice on 1. Got Chalice on 1. Need to top deck well from here. Kind of need my opponent to draw blanks and not find like a Meltdown type card. But assuming I draw some big dumb Angel, I could win this game. But like, they can just cast an Expressive Iteration and like just dig for something that beats this. Sure. Alright. Urza Saga is very good, but now my opponent just has a billion extra looks at Wasteland. I hate that playing against Delver, and this is even a different build, but like playing against these Delver decks that have Expressive Iteration is just so insane. Yep. Like, if the Sylvan Library was just Expressive Iteration, I would be experiencing the exact same thing that I'm experiencing right now. That's why I don't know why that Ponder was played out. There's already a sorcery in graveyard. I'm gonna hold that land. In case I need to put it on Elemental. Oh, I guess do they have Murktide Regent in their Tarmogoyf deck as well, and they're just like adding fuel? Seems like that might be the case. Alright, what are we looking at? Yeah, they do. Alright, cool. Fuck you, Murktide. Elemental. I will have to take 2 to do this, but this is uncounterable. I now have just given my opponent 5 more life for their Sylvan Library. How could that possibly go wrong? Also, I just want to remind you all that this is a deck specifically built with Delver in mind, with like main deck graveyard hate and all that stuff. They can't cast an Endurance. I don't really want to show the Trinisphere until as late as possible, so I guess I attack now. Attack for 3. Alright, it did work. Attempt Trinisphere. It did work. Feels incredibly lucky on my end. Okay, cool. I don't think I really have many choices for sideboarding here. My Trinispheres are notably so much worse on the draw. I could consider playing both Ratchet Bomb and Nettle Cyst over them. That may be okay. I think I'm just going to keep the Trinispheres, though. Like, I have such a good late game if I get to it. I just need things that are good enough to force my opponent to use early removal spells on. This is another one of those hands where, like, I have the right sort of stuff, and if I get Wastelanded, I'm just going to die. I think I keep it, though. Like, I have a redraw from Inspiring Overseer. Okay. Please not Dragon Rage Channeler on turn 1. F. That's a crackdown for turn 2. I think I play Karakas and attempt to Solitude Dragon Rage Channeler immediately. Just so bad if I get Wastelanded, but like I knew that from keeping the hand, right? Let's Solitude pitching the most expensive card here. Alright. I have eaten the Dragon Rage Channeler at the cost of 2 cards. Let's see if I lose the game to Wasteland. Alright, Ponder. 4 looks at Wasteland. Shuffle. Oh shit. Oh shit. I get to play Magic. Crackdown is super cool, but I think I am just supposed to play the card that cantrips here. Like, I just need to hit land drops. If I hit land drops, I will win this game. Okay. That stops a look at my next cards. Alright. There's a Delver. That is not a land drop. I'm going to attempt Crackdown right now. Like, it's better to wait on this until after Delver flips, because now my opponent can just choose not to flip their Delver, but I just frankly do not think that I cannot use my full amount of mana every turn. Okay. That's bad. Alright. Cool. I can pay 2 life to draw a card and try to get deeper. I think that's worth it because of how good these cards are. Just super awkward. Alright, Soul Guide Lantern. Exile. Land, I guess. I have to draw a card. The Chalice. That's a fine draw, I guess. I don't really want to be spending my mana on that stuff, though. So the Delvers intentionally will not reveal, so I'm not going to assume that my opponent did not draw an instant or sorcery. Alright, 2 damage a turn. I need to dodge Wasteland, and I need to hit my next land drop. Alright, there's 3 looks at Wasteland. There it is, yep. Please fucking ban Expressive Iteration. I don't know if that was the right choice. Alright. Cavern goes on Angel. It is almost certainly worth 2 life to play this. It'll suck if it gets countered, because it's an entire turn off the clock if this gets countered by Force of Will. Cool. Oh, fuck. My opponent flipped the Delvers, which means they have Lightning Bolt, and I'm just fucking dead this turn. Yep, cool. Great. Game of Magic. Balanced deck. Cool format. Yeah, there we go. Alright, so my deck that is specifically built to beat Delver died to Delver. Cool. Alright, this is round 4. I can play turn 1 Angel into turn 2 Angel into turn 3 Angel. This hand is very good. Oh, cool. So I keep a incredibly strong fair hand, and I'm just going to lose to combo on turn 1. Alright. Yeah, I'm not gonna... Well, I guess until they use a discard spell on me, I have Baneslayer Angel, which has protection from demons as an out. I will concede in response to a discard spell, though, so my opponent doesn't know what to expect. Yeah. I'll concede there. GG's. Alright. Fairies in. Containment Priest in. Tormod's Crypt is reasonable to bring in. It's also reasonable to leave in the sideboard so that I can wish for it. Crackdown's not insane. I don't really think Pithing Needle is worth it. I don't really think Currency Converter is worth it. Archangel of Wrath isn't fantastic here. Lyra Dawnbringer is probably unnecessary. Is 6. I would need 2 more cuts still. Probably cut 2 Serra Paragons without missing them too terribly. And also potentially just cut Shadow Spear. I think I'm going to do that. And then keep Tormod's Crypt as a Karn wish target. That's reasonable. Is turn 2 Karn wish for Tormod's Crypt, nothing on turn 1. I don't think that's acceptable. I think I just have to have a turn 1 play of some nature. Very counts. I'll keep this and pitch 1 Karn, I suppose. I think this is just play Urza's Saga on turn 1. Rid of Arid Mesa. Play Saga. Pass with Fairy available. The Karn is just slow here. Alright. They go off with discard protection on turn 1. They go off with discard protection. Cool. Cool. Alright. So this destroys artifacts and enchantments, so that gets to nuke my land drop. That's a 3 for 1. I'll name Angel with Cavernous Soul. Pass. Alright, Serenity wrecks me, sets me back to 2 mana. Yep. So, they have the Thoughtseize as well. Cool. Yeah, sure. Okay, they may not guarantee to have it, but it seems pretty fucking likely since they cast the Dark Ritual already. Yeah, there's an Archon of Cruelty, there's the Reanimate. Cool. Basically can't beat that. I have no mana sources because I lost 2 of them. So, like, I can't top deck, no. Solitude and just beat that. Because I lost. Cool. Alright, next round. GG. Alright, final round here. Opening hand does not have enough mana. I'm gonna go ahead and mulligan. This is an awkward hand that I probably just keep. I need to keep all my mana sources here. I probably am just throwing back the Trinus here. It's hard to cast with this hand looking the way that it does. If I get a land wastelanded, I want it to be a Ganjo. I am not in a position to play City of Traders into Chalice of the Void on turn 1. Alright, Delta pass. So, this is Cavern on Angel. Into a Dazable Chalice of the Void. Force pitching Uro. Hope my opponent does not have Wasteland right now. Okay, good. Alright. I think I want to play Serra Paragon this turn so I can attempt to play Chalice of the Void next turn. It's just, like, awkward, because, like, it's very likely to eat a Source of Plowshares. But I can't play Angel of Finality yet. And I would like to try to get additional value off of Archangel of Wrath. I don't know, maybe this is supposed to be the Source of Plowshares bait. It's just, like, in the worlds where they don't have Source of Plowshares, I want to do this. But there's worlds where they have, like, Iceman Coatl, and then I want this around. Let's go this route. Don't think this is clear cut here. I don't know, maybe I'm supposed to play the Archangel of Wrath this turn, though, because it's hard for me to kick it. At least right now. Yeah, I think that was the deal breaker, because if I kick it, I have to play Plains, and then I don't have my 4th mana. Yeah, I was supposed to play Archangel of Wrath. Okay, there's a Brainstorm in response. I guess both of these are a little awkward with City of Traders in play, though. I was thinking about something over there. Oh shit, it's bug control. Oh man, these 4-drops are maybe a little stickier than I gave them credit for then. Cool. Alright, there's a fetch. What are we looking at? That's 3 mana. Probably Uro? Okay. So there's red in here, so that means Expressive Iteration is something that I have to deal with. Okay, there is the Uro. I can uncounterably deal with the graveyard on my turn if I feel like I have to do that. Okay. I guess my opponent could fetch Fatal Push Serra Paragon, and then I don't have the chance to Chalice. Oh, man. Taking the Angel of Finality there is so good. I don't know what's taking so long. Like, it's very clearly the Angel of Finality. Okay, yeah, there we go. Opponent agrees. Am I just fucking playing Baneslayer Angel? Uncounterably. Yeah, think I am. Alright. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Sacrifice that. Play uncounterable Baneslayer Angel. Crash in with Serra Paragon. Is swinging 8 a turn. A little bit more because of like the Archangel that's coming. Hopefully outclasses Uro. Oh. Sure. Why can I not catch a fucking break today? Like, I have what is potentially like an unbeatable card for Bug. And then my opponent has 2 cards, and it's exactly the 2 pieces of the Witherbloom Apprentice combo. Cool. Sideboard 0. I think that's not by choice. I think that's just by the nature of the matchup. I just don't think I have cards. Like, Crackdown for Uro isn't really where I want to be. My Chalices should go on 2 in the mid game if I draw them. What do I Pithing Needle? I don't really know what I Pithing Needle. I don't know that I'm going to cut it, because I don't really want most of these cards. I'm going to keep it in the deck. And assume that there's some Grist or other equivalent bullshit that I can Needle if I do draw it. Or I can just, like, put it on Wasteland Blind. Okay, this hand does not have enough mana. I need to mulligan. This hand sucks. Am I keeping? Or is it worth it to go to 5? But, like, I just pitched the Solitude and I keep Trinisphere, Baneslayer Angel, 4 lands. I think I have to keep this and believe in the deck to do its thing. How many basics do I run? It's like 5. Yeah, okay. I am just going to go ahead and fetch some basics out of my deck so I'm less likely to draw more land. Will, of course, be a monkey paw situation where I, like, do this, and then I never get to the 5th land for this Baneslayer Angel. Yeah, this is one of the reasons why I didn't want to mulligan. If I go too deep, the discard just becomes incredibly good against me. Alright, well, that's fine. Again, let's fetch, thin out these lands now. And hope I can stick Trinisphere into Baneslayer. Plan has not changed. Okay, sure. And we're chilling. Hey, a second Baneslayer. Here's my attempt at Trinisphere. Alright, it's stuck. It doesn't mean a lot, but it's stuck. Like, my opponent can have Abrupt Decays, Assassin's Trophies, all that sort of stuff. I have very few bad draws in my deck currently. Like, it's basically just like Mox Diamond. Because everything else is either castable or gets me towards Baneslayer Angel. Alright. Serra Paragon. My opponent could, like, Force of Will this, paying 3 mana for Trinisphere. I think I just have to play cards. Okay, there's an Abrupt Decay on the Trinisphere. We have the Force of Will as well. They do. Okay. Pitching Brazen Borrower. My 3 remaining cards are lands and both pieces of the Chain of Smog combo. Okay, it's Baleful Strix, that's fine. My Baneslayer Angels have First Strike, so that is not a big deal. I have 2 Baneslayer Angels. Hello and good luck. You take one of them. Alright, they've got something else. Badlands. Cool. Like, I almost made this joke before it actually would have been fucking uncounterable, too. Cool. So the worst part is, like, my opponent has red, so Expressive Iteration is almost certainly in their deck, and once they start doing that, I can't come back from it. Like, the Uro is bad enough. Oh, okay. Yeah, we just got the Uro as well. Alright, how about I draw the Angel that nukes graveyards this turn? I will accept Solitude as well. Also, is it really worth it to play... Oh, okay, thank you. Also, is it really worth it to play Surgical versus my deck? I think the answer is a resounding no. Maybe I'm wrong. Alright. This nukes the Uro out of existence. By... Like, it's possible that, like, I get a 1-turn reprieve from the Uro. I swear to God, if you have a fucking Stifle... Sure. Also, if you have a fucking surgical, why don't you use it in my draw step that turn, so that if I drew one that turn, you could have taken it. Whatever. I can't attack with this Angel. Baleful Strix trades with it. Okay, sure. I'm not going to block. That means you probably just have another one. Okay, yeah, there's the other Strix. There's Ponder. I guess the big thing I'm looking to draw now is like an Urza Saga. That would mine a decent amount of value. I guess Karn is fine too. Thank you, Mox Diamond. Very cool. Alright. Now I'm just like completely at the mercy of Chain of Smog combo. Can't really block. Can't really attack. My opponent is incredibly favored here. Sure, Ponder's fine. Every cantrip is scary though, because it just like brings my opponent closer to assembling their combo, which I assume is still in their deck. I also just can't really beat an Uro in the position that I'm in right now. So like that's a thing too. Alright. Got the combo. You don't have the combo, but I have another fucking Mox Diamond. I am losing my mind. Okay. Opponent's got something to do. Or are they just fetching to clear Ponder? They're just fetching to clear Ponder. Yep. I can't do anything about that. I am dead to my opponent finding their combo. Also dead to Uro. Also dead to continue drawing Mox Diamonds. Okay, there's the Uro that I'm dead to. Let's top deck another Angel of Finality, baby. Alright, there's another land drop. Okay. Let's call that one catching a break. Goodbye. This can't be countered. I don't know why exactly we're responding. Look at the top X cards of your library, where X is the number of basic land types among lands you control. Put 2 of them into your hand, the rest into your graveyard. You lose 2 life. What the fuck are you doing casting that in response to this? You end up exiling more cards. You could have rebuilt your graveyard after this thing resolved. Yeah. I must be fucking dead. They must have just hit 2 Chain of Smogs. Because otherwise there's no way they don't keep Chain of Smog there. That's some cool tech. I don't know why we're not just casting Expressive Iteration, though. Okay. Yeah, why did we not just keep the Chain of Smog and have me dead? Alright, they're down to 14. Okay, that's fine. Yeah, I could 100% be dead here. I'm still going to lose anyway. But I think my opponent has played this one poorly. Attack with 1 flyer. Attack with none. Let my opponent attack, and then a Ganjo defensively. Might be better. Alternatively, I can attack with both, have my opponent attack with both Witherbloom Apprentices, kill one that way, and then I can potentially top deck a Solitude to deal with the other one. I don't hate that, and I don't think my opponent will play around a Ganjo. Let's get in there. Alright, everything going according to plan so far. Opponent was thinking about playing something there. So they either have like a Brainstorm or yet another Surgical Extraction. Alright, sure. Okay, land drop. I have Murktide too. Cool. I love how much I wiggled this game to do cool things, and then this card comes in and, like, invalidates my outs that I had to a very difficult situation that I was playing towards. Alright. Cool. I have to play this. I just have literal no choice. I'm gonna have to chump block with it. I guess so I don't die to cantrips, I just need to put this on 1 and then hope that my opponent doesn't find the actual combo finish. Cool. So, my opponent's on 0 cards. They have 7 power in play. Alright, opponent not offering up the trade. I think I just have to chump block to keep my life total high, and then, like, top deck running, Solitudes or something. Alright, I think this means I'm dead. I can go ahead and loot a Mox Diamond away here. Okay. You don't need to fucking do that. This card does not fucking matter. Like, I cannot stress enough how bad of a play that was. I now have 1 more mana. I think I went from 0 outs to having some outs to this situation. Like, I didn't hit one there, but you actively helped me this turn. I'm dead to any one spell, so, like, it doesn't fucking matter. Alright. I'm down to 1. So, if I play this, it has first strike for Murktide Regent. I will be dead to any spell, but here's to hoping. Like, opponent can just draw 2 lands in a row, and then I can maybe try to take over this game. Okay, if you had a fucking spell, kill me on your goddamn turn! Alright, so that is a 1-4 league. Overall thoughts on the deck list. This deck is a very cool designed deck that I think is very neat, that is not competitive with the top tier legacy decks. Expressive Iteration is so good. Murktide Regent is so good. Even when we specifically tried to put together this deck that has, like, basically only threats that go and live through the removal spell that Delver has, we have these things that are specifically protection from Murktide Regent. It just doesn't matter because those decks have enough selection and card advantage that they can find a way to kill you. I think the deck needed more lands, like 24 plus Mox Diamond just, like, was not enough. I would probably straight up just drop the Karn the Great Creator package from this deck, run like 2 more lands, probably cut like Currency Converter from this deck, run a couple more Angels, or maybe more copies of Solitude or something. The deck is doing interesting things and interacting very well with the things that the format has to offer. It just is not objectively as powerful as a lot of the other decks. And, like, the last round is a great example of that. Like, my opponent was fucking misplaying into Oblivion, like, surgicaling. Like, this is not a surgical extraction matchup, like, very clearly is not, especially since I'm a Chalice of the Void deck that is going to, like, counter that spell most of the time. But, like, my opponent was making a lot of errors, and it just did not matter. I could not punish them. Like, opponent very easily missed an onboard win, and I couldn't do anything about it, right? And when your opponents are making a bunch of misplays and it doesn't matter, there's something really wrong with the deck building. And I think in this case, Karn is too slow to matter, and the rest of this deck is already slow. So I think you need a few more lands. You maybe need a few more early plays, maybe counting Solitude as an early play. You maybe need more things to bring back with Serra Paragon, because a lot of the times, like, I was bringing back, like, or maybe attempting to bring back, like, a Chalice of the Void or Trinisphere. Like, the Urza Saga is great to bring back, but maybe you need a few more things that can just chump block in the early game. Like, if there is a Solitude-like card that can go to the graveyard early and then be replayed with Serra Paragon, like, I kind of like that. Kind of like how Luris was used with some artifacts. You know, like the Seal of Fire type cards that can, like, kill something and then come back later. Maybe you can do something like that to make Serra Paragon work. This is a deck that is almost there. I think something like this is more viable if we see some legacy bans, but, like, given how geared we were to try to beat, like, Delver and these expressive iteration decks, and then, like, given how the gameplay felt, I don't know that this gets a thumbs up. It was really hard to get to 5 mana in particular for the Baneslayer Angels. It was very hard to Karn plus do something else. Alright, I hope you all enjoyed the video. If you did, please click the like button on the way out. It helps out a lot. I hope you have a great rest of the day. See ya!